What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com. We've got your last minute heading into WrestleMania questions. Let's get right to it. First one today, it's two people actually. Joey Stees on Instagram and Callum Owen98 on Twitter. Both want to know when Bayley should be called up to the main roster, and Callum thinks that the post-Mania Raw would be a smart decision. While Joey, what did Joey say? The Raw to Mania as well or after. It really depends on what happens Friday. Friday, of course, is NXT TakeOver Dallas, and she is facing Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship. Now, it's very easy to say, well, if she loses the title, then she'll be called up, but if she's called up after such a huge loss on a huge stage, that kills her momentum. So, would they call her up as champion like they did Sasha Banks? Like they did Paige? I don't know. I'd personally like to see her debut on the main roster without any obligations to NXT. But the flip side, as I said, is if she loses on Friday to Asuka, then it kills her entire momentum, unless it's a really solid performance, which I know Bayley can deliver, as she always has, and unless they both make each other in the match, which they very well could. These two are two of the best women wrestlers in the world, and they're unbelievably awesome. They are great. Let's see. Next one comes from Miguel Duran 300 on Instagram. How would you book the Bullet Club's debut, and when would they debut? Oh, I'd personally like to see Carl and Doc debut. The sooner the better. I had somebody ask me on Twitter if they were going to debut at WrestleMania and help Shane McMahon defeat The Undertaker. I don't think Doc and Carl want any part of The Undertaker. I really don't think they want any part of him. Not to knock Carl or Doc, but it's The Undertaker and it's WrestleMania. So I don't think that is a very smart idea on either one of their parts to be doing that. I personally would like to see them debut not too long after WrestleMania. And I'd like to see them honestly debut in NXT and really work their way toward defeating the hopefully soon-to-be champions, American Alpha. Because I think Doc and Carl will work better as bad guys, and I think that Jason and Chad are going to be good guys going forward. They're facing the Revival on Friday, which will be a unbelievable match. I'm sure we've talked about that before. I really, truly think that the Bullet Club is going to debut in NXT, and what would be interesting, I just thought about this, what would be interesting is if they debuted at TakeOver Dallas and helped Finn Balor retain the championship. But again, it's all conjecture at this point. It's all speculation, so we really don't know what's going to happen come Friday, but I'm sure it'll be a very interesting show to watch if the Bullet Club debuts then and there. This next one comes from GNX26 on Twitter. Should WWE bring back the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania instead of having its own pay-per-view? Yes. I feel that having all these theme pay-per-views carried by one match is kind of bogus. You got Hell in a Cell now. You've got all these other matches, the Extreme Rules when they had it. They have all these different things. And Money in the Bank is an awesome match, but it should be showcased on an awesome show. Granted, WrestleMania this year didn't look like a very awesome show, but if they had a Money in the Bank ladder match as opposed to the Intercontinental title ladder match and had the IC title between Owens and Zayn like we wanted, then we'd be happier, wouldn't we? The Money in the Bank, if I can... Oh, I can't reach it. I was going to show you the briefcase I have. But the Money in the Bank is something special. It has been since Edge first won it and cashed in on John Cena back in 2006. This briefcase right here is symbolized the fact that when you have this briefcase, not this exact one, because this one's a little bit more plastic than the real one, but this briefcase shows that you are going to be the next superstar. And a lot of times you're already the superstar. You're just being showcased as the Money in the Bank. And a lot of times, unfortunately, the Money in the Bank briefcase winner ends up going on a hot losing streak is what they do. and they don't really get that momentum back until they cash in. Look at, let's see, Sheamus, for example, or Dolph Ziggler. But I think that if showcased properly, the Money in the Bank match could do very, very well being back at WrestleMania. I think that'd be an awesome way to revitalize the Money in the Bank, because let's face it, Sheamus killed it last year and early part of this year. Last year when he was Money in the Bank winner, he was an awful Money in the Bank holder. It was ridiculous. Next one today comes from, it's a good one, it's from Seahawk Brohawk on Twitter. Mickie James said on JR's podcast that she wrote her own storyline, 1 year in length, concluding at WrestleMania. Do you think if the talent today, both men and women, took initiative and did this, we'd see a better WWE product? I honestly would love to see the talent be given the opportunity to take the initiative and to really run with the ball as far as being given their own storylines, their own chance to do their own thing. But I think in today's WWE, that's not going to happen. The WWE is very writer controlled. It's very very creative controlled by the McMahon family and by the other writers of Raw and SmackDown. So I think that for us to speculate that, well, if they give them their own storyline, would they be able to? Of course, if anybody wrote their own stuff, of course they would do well. But the problem is that we expect WWE to just hand every single person we love a storyline on a silver platter and let them run with it, and that's just not the way it is. The honest truth is, there's just not enough. There's not enough creative balance in WWE to showcase all these different talents, and it's unfair to expect that of them. Granted, they could be a lot better creatively. They could be a lot better in terms of storylines, things like that. But to expect every single person we love to get a showcase storyline is just unfair. This is from the Fizzy One on Twitter. Why do you think WWE doesn't listen to fans? Doesn't like listening to the fans? That's a hotly debated question. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think they don't listen to the fans. I think they know what the fans want. I think they know what's best for business, they always say on television. I personally think that they could, if they really wanted to, tweak certain things on TV to make it more appealing to the current WWE fan. But the problem is they want to appeal to everybody. They want to appeal to every family that's flipping through the channels. Oh, USA, oh, Raw's on. Let's watch WWE for a while. And they want the fans, they want their audience that they're trying to target to feel safe, bringing them and their families into the WWE universe. And I think that us hardcore fans, if you want us marks or smarks, if you will, don't really appreciate that. I think we just want what we want. We want Attitude Era back. We want NWO, and we want DX, and we want Cena being a heel, and we want Roman being a heel, and we want this, we want that. It's like, you can't always get what you want in this world. You have to just realize that sometimes shit's not going to go your way. And it's just long and short of it. And for us to, again, I mentioned this in the previous question, for us to expect WWE to cater to every single fan is just not fair. It's not for everybody. It's not ballet, as I always say. It's not for every single person. It's for the people they're targeting. And right now, the 18 to 34, which I'm almost out of that demographic now, is not who they're targeting. This is from Maestro Gamer 180 on Twitter. Hey Jeff, longtime viewer of Talk Wrestling. Would you have John Cena beat or tie the 16-time world title record? Well, I'm very anal about this category in wrestling, because I feel that Ric Flair has more than 16 championships. So, if you look back, he is officially a 9-time NWA champion, a 8-time WCW champion, a 2-time international champion, so that's 19, and that's 21. 21 recognized by NWA, WCW, WWE, 21-time world champion. So yes, let Cena have it. That's fine. Because that way they can get that off of Ric Flair's record, and then he can go back to claiming what he really is, which is 21-time world champion. 22 if you count the title change between him and Harley in Asia. Fat Perlo on Twitter. Do you think Raw will ever become 4 hours, and if so, would you take that and no SmackDown, or the way it is now? Neither. 2-hour Raw, 2-hour SmackDown, or 2-hour Raw, 1-hour SmackDown. If SmackDown stays the way it is right now, it is a completely useless show. Aaron says it every single week on Monday nights on Twitter. If you follow at NoDQ, by the way, or at Aaron Rift on Twitter on Monday nights, you will see that every single Monday there is some sort of rematch from the previous Thursday. Which means, well, they didn't watch SmackDown last week because this SmackDown sucks. Let's go ahead and put this match back on Raw to make sure everybody sees it again. That's exactly the way it is. And if SmackDown remains the way it is, the way it's been the last year or so, cut it. Completely cut it and cut Raw to 2 hours. Or, if you're going to keep Raw 3 hours, showcase more people. And if you're going to keep SmackDown, showcase more people. We get the same bullshit on both shows every single week. It's a very big reason why I'm really thinking about taking a break after WrestleMania, because I'm just so sick of the freaking same shit week after week on both shows. Oh my god. Terrible. This is from Braden Real 18 on Twitter. In your opinion, would Triple H and John Cena have been the two main guys if Rock and Austin had stayed? Oh, I think that's one of those things where playing the if game is dangerous, because Austin couldn't have stayed. He was injured. He's still injured. He's got spinal stenosis. He can't wrestle. So imagine he would have stayed, would have endangered his health and his career and his life even. Rocky, had he stayed, would have missed out on all the Hollywood opportunities, would have missed out on millions upon millions of dollars of Hollywood paychecks, and not had that huge swell of support when he came back in 2011, 2012. So again, for them two to not go away leads to them suffering down the line. Yes, had they stayed, they would have probably still eclipsed Triple H and John Cena. However, they would have been gone anyway within a couple years because Rock wanted to take a break and Austin was hurt. So those two, Triple H and John Cena, would have been elevated eventually and stepped eventually. And Triple H was already a main eventer before either one of them even left. Triple H was WWE champion, 3-4 times before Austin retired. As well as a multi-time world heavyweight champion by the time Austin retired. So, speculation is not necessary in that case. They weren't going to stay. It wasn't going to happen. There was just no chance in hell of it. Let's see. This one's from Silent Rage 74 on Twitter. Do you think Razor Ramon would have been WWF champion had he stayed on with the company instead of going to WCW in 1996? No. Razor, Scott Hall, whatever you want to call him, was a fabulous Intercontinental champion. One of the best ever. 4-time whatever was Intercontinental champion. Before it was hip to be a multi-time Intercontinental champion. Probably would have been tag champion had he and Diesel stayed, or had he and Shawn Michaels still been a team on television briefly. They would have been tag team champions. But for us to speculate that Scott Hall, Razor Ramon would have been World Heavyweight Champion, WWF Champion, I very much doubt that. I highly, highly doubt. As Aaron would say, it would have been highly unlikely that Razor Ramon would have been WWF Champion. Alright, the last one for today comes from... No, I'm sorry. 2 more. Always Joshy on Instagram. Which match at WrestleMania do you see stealing the show? Also, which NXT superstars do you see being called tonight to WrestleMania? Stealing the show, it's either going to be Ambrose and Lesnar, or Shane and The Undertaker. I think the rest of them are going to be pretty predictable and pretty basic, pretty generic, I want to say. The ladder match will be interesting because there's so many different personalities in there. You got Owens and Zayn and everybody else in there, Ziggler. But, unless Ziggler's on it. I think Ziggler's on that. I don't know. But for me, it's going to be Shane and The Undertaker, and it's going to be, Dean and Brock Lesnar. Those two are going to really steal the show. As far as call-ups, I'd like to see Bayley called up. I'd like to see Finn Balor called up, but he's doing a great job carrying the brand. If he loses Friday, he might get called up. But if he retains, I mentioned with the help of Gallows and Anderson, then he may stay at NXT. Maybe Joe will get called up. Very interesting. We'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk more about that with Aaron on a prediction show. But yeah, okay. All right, this is the last one for sure. Kayfabe Candy Ass on Twitter, our old buddy, Kayfabe Candy Ass. Hello, JEFF. What is your Mount Rushmore of WrestleMania main events? I looked at this when I was on the train coming home the other day from the hockey game, and I really wanted to make sure I picked 4 matches that stood out and 4 matches that didn't have the same person twice. Now, it was hard to do WrestleMania main events, so what I did was I picked WrestleMania featured matches, Kayfabe. I picked 4 matches that were highlighted at WrestleMania that were show stealers and that show stealers or main events that really stood out and will really be forever etched in the annals of time, as you say, WrestleMania. Hulk and Andre from WrestleMania 3. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13. Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair from WrestleMania 24. I was there. Awesome. And Rock Cena WrestleMania 28. Those 4 matches have 8 of the top stars in recent memory, in my lifetime. Yeah, figure 1987 to 2012, those WrestleManias encompassed there. Those 4 matches were really one of the highlights, if not the highlight, of the show they were on. With Steamboat and Savage, WrestleMania 3 also could be on there as an honorary thing. All right? We will see you all next time on Talk Wrestling.